So this is Riyad Gandhy, who is a coach. So Riyad, why don't you tell us what did you study and what courses did you take?
Well, I did a 4-year degree in equine science, and that entailed a lot of science courses, studying the horse, such as biology, um, in-depth systems, all the respiratory system, circulatory system, muscular system, dissection, and then very horse-specific courses like equine nutrition, farrier science, which is the science of horseshoeing, um, equine behavior, um, and then besides the courses that I took in college, my riding part of it was on the side. So after classes were over, I would go to the stables and take my private lessons from the coaches and um, study that.
All right. So Riyad, why don't you tell us, why don't you give us a brief history of your career?
Well, after graduating from college, I there was no master's degree in my field. Um, so the equivalent was you go and work as an understudy, an assistant trainer to someone else. So I went to Alabama and was the assistant trainer to a guy named Jim Graham, who at the time was a selector for the US Olympic team. Um, so I was his assistant for about 3 years, learned a lot, got coaching every day, 5, 6 times a day. Um, and then moved out on my own, um, worked in Kentucky, Maryland, went back to the university I graduated from and was the head instructor there for 3 years, and then decided to come back to India. So I've been coaching here now for the past 6 years.
All right. So, um, what skills does it take to be a successful coach?
Well, successful coaches can have very different types of personalities. You can have successful coaches that are extremely strict. You can have ones that are very lenient. They're almost one of the guys, one of the buddies with their students. So I think to be successful, you have to be able to adapt to the people you're teaching, because not everybody's going to have the same personality. Some of your students may need to be driven a little bit harder. And some of them might be very self-motivated, where you don't need to do much. You just, you give them a little bit more rope. So that's one quality it takes. Being a good communicator, being able to convey your ideas so that somebody can easily understand them. In my field with horses, it has to do a lot with analogies, because you're trying to teach somebody a feel. And it's very difficult to teach somebody a feel because they have to develop that feel over years and years because you're working with an animal. It takes patience and the ability to motivate. I would
All right.
say some of the qualities.
Okay. So, how do you make use of technology, and how do you think technology will play a role in your in coaching?
Well, how I use technology right now, for example, instant replay, slow motion, because it gives someone feedback of what they look like when they think they're sitting straight, for example, and I keep saying the word, sit back, sit tall, and they're thinking in their mind, I am sitting tall. But then after they come back to me and I show them the replay and they see themselves leaning forward, hunching, then it does something to them to, recalibrate them, their expectations of themselves. So that's one way I use technology. The other way is with coaching. I do a lot of what's it called? You can put a earphone, for example, on the rider. You don't have to yell at them all the time. You're just talking in a very quiet voice to yourself, and they can hear you on the other side. So it's like an easy walkie-talkie they ride with. That's another piece of technology I use. And the other technology I use is more on the horse, because it's not specifically for coaching, but in order to coach successfully, you have to have a sound horse. So in order to keep the horses sound and not let them go lame, I use thermal imaging cameras, which will detect heat in the horse's legs and show you where they're feeling some pain or inflammation. And so that's one way that we keep horses sound. And those are all technologies that were not available, 15, 20 years ago that are available now.
All right. So what guidance do you have for those who are looking to pursue a similar career as a coach?
As a coach, I'd say first you have to put in a lot of years, learning from the right people and absorb, be a sponge for as many years as you can, learning the best methods and techniques from different people. Don't just be a copycat and learn under one person. Learn every coach and trainer out there has strong points. So if you can absorb the strong areas of several people and put them together, you kind of create your own technique, which kind of takes the best of several people and blends them into your own style.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, Riyad. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.